Everyone, thank you very much for joining us this morning. My name is Jennifer Hearn. I'm the Chief Officer and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Culture. I'm joined here this morning by the Deputy Premier, Mr. Honourable Moses Kirkconnell, who's also the Minister for District Administration, Tourism and Transport. And we have Councillor Roy McTaggart, who is the Ministerial Councillor for the Ministry of Health and Culture. We're very excited to be here this morning because we are kicking off the public nomination period for the 2017 National Heroes Day Awards. I'm going to open by first of all, offering apologies on behalf of the Honourable Premier. Unfortunately, something came up and he wasn't able to join us this morning. But Councillor McTaggart is here on the Premier's behalf, and I'm just going to open by asking Councillor McTaggart to bring some remarks on behalf of the Premier. Councillor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. It is with great joy and pride that I come to you today to announce the launch of the public nomination period for the Cayman Islands National Heroes Day 2017. We are very excited to be here, and I want to thank you for coming to help us get the word out. Tomorrow is the first day of the nomination period, and on Monday, the 23rd of January 2017, we will pay tribute to pioneers in tourism and honor those who have made significant contributions to the past and ongoing development of tourism in the Cayman Islands. Tomorrow, 1st of September, continuing through to the 30th, the National Heroes Day Committee will accept nominations for forms for deserving individuals based on each nominee's contribution to tourism. We are asking the public to nominate people they believe have played a pivotal role in the tourism industry. The National Heroes Day Committee has chosen to define tourism as: tourism is the travel for holiday, leisure and recreation, business, health, education, sports and other purposes. Tourism services and products include the business of attracting, accommodating, transporting, entertaining, and operating tours for visitors with the support of allied services. Tourism may be international or domestic. So you can see it's a very broad definition. We have chosen tourism as a 2017 theme because the tourism sector is a vital part of our country's past, its present, and will be for the future. I believe that it is time we honor those people who are committed to this constantly growing sector and celebrate their hard work and efforts. As a councillor in the Ministry of Health and Culture, I am proud to recognize those who have given themselves to make the Cayman Islands a better place, not only for those who call this country home, but for the people who come to enjoy our piece of paradise and arrive and depart feeling and knowing the true meaning of Caymankind. Over the years, National Heroes Day has featured a variety of themes from cultural, heritage, agriculture, education, healthcare, aviation, and more. And I'm delighted now that tourism will take center stage. There are 5 nomination categories for outstanding contributions to the sector of tourism in the Cayman Islands: the Early Pioneer, Pioneer, Emerging Pioneer, the Memorial Scroll, and Long Service Award. Guidelines for each category can be found on the nomination form. We do have exciting new details regarding the nomination categories. We are pleased to announce a few changes to the list. The recipients of the Emerging Pioneer category will now receive a commemorative insignia along with their certificates at the ceremony in January. This is a special memento that has previously only been given to the Early Pioneer and Pioneer. I am also pleased to announce that the National Heroes Day Committee has decided to increase the quota for all 3 Pioneer categories to 75 honorees in total. Nomination forms will be made available at the front desk of the Government Administration Building and online at our Ministry's webs page at ministryofhealth.gov.ky. Again, I strongly encourage everyone in the community to take the time to submit a nomination form and recognize someone who you believe has made exceptional strides in the tourism industry throughout the history of the Cayman Islands. Don't miss the opportunity to be a part of this very historic event. Nominate that person who you believe has truly made a difference so they can get the credit that they so rightfully deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And as Councillor mentioned, the theme for 2017 is tourism, and so I now invite the Deputy Premier to offer some remarks around the theme.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ahern. I say a very pleasant good morning to everybody that's here. I'm very pleased that next year's historic event will allow us at a national level to acknowledge and thank the hardworking and dedicated individuals who are the lifeblood of the tourism and hospitality sector, as well as those whose dedication and hard work has significantly contributed to the industry's success. In its broadest sense, tourism includes travel for business, leisure, whether to visit family, friends, to study, attend conferences, festivals or tournaments, or seek medical attention overseas. I am happy to say that through the combined efforts of the Ministry and the Department of Tourism in collaboration with our private sector partners, there are good things happening on each of these levels to accommodate and attract visitors to our shores. Air and cruise arrivals continue to climb to record-breaking heights, and even with the impact of threats such as Zika, we remain very optimistic that the industry will continue to perform well overall. Major infrastructure developments, such as the expansion of Owen Roberts Airport, are progressing. 2 new hotels will be opening for business later this year. And Cayman Airways will soon have a new fleet of aircraft, the newest fleet in the region, and has already begun servicing more gateways and offering more seats to the market. These and other developments on the horizon will make our tourism marketplace even more appealing to visitors, and more importantly, means more jobs for our people, more business for our operators, and more revenue for our economy. Opportunities for training through the Hospitality School and UCCI have significantly increased, and more tourism scholarships are also being offered to ensure more Caymanians are qualified to pursue careers in tourism, armed with internationally accredited qualifications. The Cayman Islands tourism industry is more vibrant, robust, and promising than ever before, and our tourism product continues to earn accolades and awards for excellence in hospitality and service. This speaks volumes about the men and women who go above and beyond on a daily basis to ensure Cayman Islands remains among the most desirable destinations in the region. Tourism is everybody's business and has always played a major role in the development of our islands. I'm therefore extremely pleased to have this opportunity to recognize and pay tribute to the men and women who have given so much to shape the industry into what it is today. Over the next 30 days, I urge everyone to get involved with this process and fill out a nomination form for someone you think is worthy of this recognition. And I interject here to say, err on the side of filling out too many nominations, because if you have a question about whether you think they should be nominated or whether you think somebody else has already done it, don't take that chance. Recommend and nominate them yourself. There are many that are deserving of this honor, and I look forward to another successful nomination period as we prepare to honor the service and achievements of our heroes in tourism. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Deputy Premier. And with that, I'll open the floor up for any questions. Were there any questions from the audience?
Absolutely. Minister McConnell, you spoke, Mario Gray, Cayman 27, sir. You just spoke about using the locals to provide nominations to pick the best people, obviously who they think would qualify for this. What about the tourists? What about their involvement in this? Isn't it a bit cliche to use our very own people to say who's the best people at recruiting tourists here to our island and making people feel more hospitalized here? Wouldn't it be good as well to involve the visitors in this process?
Oh, absolutely. We don't want to eliminate anybody from being able to recommend people for these nominations. And I hope I made that clear enough. If I didn't, I thank you for the question.
Yeah, definitely. Just to reemphasize that the nominations are open to anybody, anywhere in the world can make a nomination. The nomination forms will be available online at our ministry's website, which is www.ministryofhealth.gov.ky. So people from all over the world who have visited the Cayman Islands and may have somebody in mind that they think should be recognized will have the opportunity to make that nomination. The honorees are restricted to people who've made a contribution here in the Cayman Islands to tourism, so it's not necessarily for somebody from here who's gone elsewhere and contributed to the tourism industry in another jurisdiction, but it's to recognize anybody, Caymanian or non-Caymanian, who's made a contribution to Cayman Islands tourism.
Secondly, Councillor McTaggart, Zika cases, it's escalating here in Ireland. We can't hide from that fact. How can we assure anyone that people are not paying attention to this, let alone visitors here in Ireland? How can we assure ourselves that, this is not fluctuating in any way, that people are not looking elsewhere to travel different places? How do we know this?
I don't know that we know whether people are diverting their travels from the Cayman Islands at this point in time.
But,
if I can add to that, we have a very robust program in marketing through the ministry and with the Department of Tourism. So in our target markets, when we put the information out, we make sure that it's available and it's easily available. So as example, the last two Zika cases that were announced yesterday, that will be made available. But along with that, you make available what is being done about it, how our public health is working toward it, how the Department of Environmental Health is working, how MRCU is working, and it lets them, when they're making a decision, have the ability to compare us as a regional destination that they might be comparing with 3 or 4 other small island nations. And I would say that we stack up extremely well with the effort and the hard work that's been put in to really looking at Zika and what's been done so far.
And just to digress slightly from Heroes Day and just focus on the MRCU's efforts and public health efforts in regards to Zika, the Mosquito Research and Control Unit from very early on and working very closely with public health has basically a 3-stage approach to the threat of Zika through the Aedes aegypti mosquito. A number of months ago, we spoke about how they were doing proactively and preemptively before we even had Zika on our shores. The MRCU were literally going house to house on the island of Grand Cayman where we have the vector and doing surveys of the yards and speaking to house owners and saying, here's what you can do to help eliminate the breeding sites for the Aedes aegypti. They also embarked on a very aggressive proactive preventative campaign of looking at the areas that we know from past where we have the vector and treating those. And then when we have Zika reported or even a suspected case of Zika, public health notifies MRCU almost immediately as soon as they're aware of it. And MRCU will then go out to where the patient lives and basically do a special treatment around the patient's house and the immediate area, and also increase the survey of the yards in the area to make sure that any other breeding sites have been eliminated. So we have got a record and a program that's been in place that MRCU had in place, and they have gone from the different phases in response to what has gone on. And I think as Deputy Premier mentioned, if you look at the incidence of Zika here versus some of the other countries in the region, we are certainly at much lower numbers, and we have a very robust preventative program in place. We've actually had visitors from some of the other countries come here to meet with MRCU and our public health team to find out more about what they've been doing, because it's viewed as a model program. So members of the public still have the opportunity to sort of help us to help you. Make sure you go into your yard, make sure you clean your gutters, tip over any standing water, and just make every effort to try and eliminate as many of the breeding sites as you can. And also, just when MRCU comes knocking and wants to come and check your yard, make sure that you accommodate them and bring them in. So But any other questions about Heroes Day?
Actually, coincidentally, I did notice that the information that's collected here, it looks like it makes its way into the National Archive. Could you touch a little bit on the importance of us not just celebrating on this day, but actually keeping, I would say, a better track of the history of tourism and how vital it's been over the years to the Cayman Islands? And any of you can answer this.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer first. I believe that each one of us have in our memory bank the development of tourism over this fast track of the last 25, 30 years. And we all think back to our childhood and think about the type of planes that flew in and the airport they flew into, Benny Ross driving a taxi and the comedy. But the important part about that built repeat guests because they came for the personalities and they came for the experience that they were having in this genuine Caymanian community when they came. So from the standpoint of us having the opportunity to name some of these people and to recognize them and to bring them out, I just think it's extremely important. Each one of us probably on a daily basis have somebody that we interact with that's in the tourism industry, probably more than one, because tourism's everybody's business. And you think that they do a really good job. If you use a taxi, you get the card because you're going to call them back. It's recognized as one of the competitive edges that the Cayman Islands has is the people themselves. And that's why we feel the more we get the Caymanian people involved in tourism, the stronger our product's going to be.
There are some challenges in the industry. It is not an easy industry to be successful in. You have to work your way up, and you don't get paid a whole bunch in the beginning, and sometimes for a very long time that you don't. So that has been a bit of a barrier on occasion. How do you counteract that? I mean, I understand celebrating the pioneers helps a little bit, but how do you draw more people into an industry that is clearly not an easy industry to be successful in and make money?
We are extremely proud of the aggressive approach that this government has taken since day one. If you look at what we have done with the completion of the hospitality school, the added courses at UCCI, the combination of partnership with Johnson & Wales in overseas scholarship programs, and the people that we've been able to place, you will see that we understood that the growth of the industry itself demands more educational pursuit and opportunities for the people to get the skill sets they need. And we have a very, in our life cycle of tourism, we're entering a mature stage that we've identified the needs of the businesses. And if you have 5-star international brands that demand a certain type of employee, it's our job to provide the educational facilities and opportunities to make sure Caymanians can be the best of the best. And I'm really pleased to tell you some of the new young graduates or just out of school that have entered the industry and are having tremendous success. The opportunity, as you've talked about, is it's not only the person that's going to go to work, it's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the support structure around them. It's making sure they know that this is a good job and that it's a job that can give them great success. Because I believe, speaking for myself, when I originally thought about tourism as a young person, I viewed tourism as somebody that was checking you into a hotel, somebody that was serving you at a table. But tourism is everything. It's HR, it's management, it's engineering. So any kind of job that somebody thinks about can be applied to the tourism industry. And we have, again, I say, aggressively looked at how we could get more and more Caymanians and give opportunities.
Okay. Any other questions? Jewel? Sorry.
On that point, Deputy Premier, is that the reason why the quota was increased to 75 persons? Because we're trying to provide more opportunities for Caymanians to be recognized. Was that the thinking behind it?
Well, I said earlier, I want you to err on the side of too much and err on the side of making sure you have plenty of nominations. So absolutely, and I would say that we would probably, if there were more than 75, we would probably have a look at that and consider ways to make sure everybody that deserves to be honored is honored.
Jewel, did you have a question? Wait for you.
What the cost of heroes this year is going to be?
No, I don't have that cost. That's actually, it's a budget item that's in the protocol office under cabinet. It's something that I can look into and get back to you on, but I don't have the figure with me right now. Yeah. Just to touch a bit on the question about the 75, some of the feedback that we had from last year's committee with Heroes Day was that they recognized that the emerging pioneers who were being recognized were actually making significant contributions. All of the pioneers are making significant contributions, but in the past, when we introduced the emerging pioneer category, they didn't receive the insignia, the commemorative pin, and there was no limit on the number of honorees in that category. So after sort of the post-mortem and the discussion with last year's committee, it was recommended that it be considered to honor the emerging pioneers in the similar manner as the other two pioneer categories, the early pioneer and the pioneer. And give them the insignia as well. And the committee, when we discussed it this year, one of the things is we want to make sure that, as the Deputy Premier said, we recognize everybody who deserves to get recognized. And the quota before for the early pioneer and pioneer was 50, so we increased it overall for the three categories to 75. Were there any other questions about that? No? Okay, well, I just want to thank you all for coming. I want to echo what the Deputy Premier said. Please don't assume that someone else is going to nominate someone just because there's someone that immediately comes to mind for you. I actually had a conversation with somebody just last night, and I was telling them that we were going to be doing this today, and they said, oh, I hope somebody nominates so-and-so. And I said, well, you should nominate them. And they said, well, somebody else will. And that's how people don't end up getting nominated. So please take the time. Get the form is on our webpage, www.ministryofhealth.gov.ky. It'll also be available at the front desk here in the Government Administration Building. Please do get the form, take the time, submit your nomination. The nomination period runs until the 30th of September. So please, please, please nominate somebody who you believe is worthy of recognition for their contribution in the area of tourism. And we'll look forward to not only receiving all of your nominations, but seeing you all on Monday, the 23rd of January, 2017, as we celebrate our pioneers in tourism. Thank you all very much for coming, and have a wonderful day.